Thank you, Taylor. After days of negotiating, Illinois State University administrators and the United Faculty reached a tentative agreement on their first union contract. That agreement was announced this afternoon. In a joint statement, both sides said they appreciate the collaboration and commitment of the negotiating teams over the past 13 months. Union members held signs outside the bargaining site this morning. At least one of them believes this helped finish the job.
That action, that hard fighting from our members is what it took to get past some of those final log jams so that we could get to a fair contract and get to a tentative agreement that we feel comfortable sending out to our members to vote on.
The administration and the union haven't shared any details of that agreement, but the union will hold meetings about it before the ratification vote, which is expected to take place by April 18th.